joining us this morning. As always, we love it when you're part of the conversation. So slide in there and let us know what your thoughts are. WhatsApp number 0809 444 0981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. And we're streaming live on YouTube as well, so you can catch that live stream. Good morning, Rotus, looking all like Santa in a red shirt.
Good morning, Zibby. Good morning, Omas. Good morning to everybody out there. Yes, compliments of the season to you all.
Thank you, on behalf of the world.
Oh,
Right.
well, just only missing the ho 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 you didn't add to it if you accepted being in red and looking stylish. Anyway, Rotus, we hope the Grinch didn't steal your Christmas. So if it didn't, let's get into the Naira discussion quickly and see what it's looking like. It seems there's cause for jubilation as we can see the Naira probably appreciating a bit. Can you explain why the dollar has experienced a certain kind of weakness recently?
Yeah, the dollar has weakened against a basket of currencies as a result of anticipations that there are going to be rate cuts in the new year from the Federal Reserve. That's the US Central Bank. So basically, when the Federal Reserve, when you raise rates, you essentially make the dollar more appealing. And so people, purchase, or rather they invest in securities, dollar-denominated securities, because the rate of return increases. I mean, that's supposed to be how it works anywhere, where you raise rates and basically make a currency more appealing. So they've been anticipating, that is, the markets have anticipated that there will be rate cuts in the new year because inflation in the US has been coming down. You raise rates when you want to make borrowing more expensive in order to try to cool the economy down. So I also try to fight inflation as well. So that's why the dollar index has been, we've seen the dollar come down recently in international markets. However, it hasn't quite translated to the Naira, but that's just an overview of why we're seeing dollar weakness in international markets.
So why is this wind that should blow and get across avoiding it? It affects other baskets of currencies, but it seems like it's allergic to the Naira. Why? Could you just give us a reason?
Yeah, so the Naira weakness exceeds dollar weakness. So essentially, I mean, you'll see a little bit of an appreciation here and there from like, I think Boxing Day was 1,230. Maybe it comes down to 1,200 or 1,195. But those are marginal. You're not going to see, big movements where you're going from maybe 1,000 to 900 to 800 and so on and so forth. Although I think in the official market, trading resumed yesterday, and I think it was at 872 or so in the official market. But there's that premium. So look, the weakness still remains. Demand for foreign exchange is still there, and so that is the reason why you're still seeing existing Naira weakness, and you haven't quite seen that shift. And until fundamentals change, that's where we're going to remain as far as the currency is concerned.
All right, let's talk about some currency forecasts that we've had. Two ministers have done that. Minister of Finance Wale Edun said a fair value of the Naira is about 700 to $1. Taiwo Oyedele says between 650 to 700. Was that a good idea for them to actually try to forecast the currency value?
No, it wasn't a good idea. So Wale Eduna was during his ministerial screening, where he suggested that, quote unquote, all things being equal, if you take out speculation and other things, the Naira should be trading at about 700 to the dollar. Taiwo Oyedele, he gave an interview. He runs the newly formed tax commission, and he granted an interview to Bloomberg, I think, and he was saying that the government was targeting between 650 to 700 Naira to the dollar. He said this back in October. I think they were anticipating liquidity to come into the system. But yeah, no, it's not a good idea to forecast because It never ends well. You don't know what the fundamentals are. You don't know how speculation and other things are going to play a role. So it's probably best to just stay away from specifically trying to say what the value is. You can give an outlook in terms of strength, weakness, but it's not, you don't have a crystal ball. It's not a good idea.
No, because you touched on outlook already, so it just seemed proper. You were leading us to where it should be. The years in less than 72 hours, or probably 72 hours, it comes to an end, and then it will be the new year. So just speak to us on what the Naira outlook would be for 2024.
Yeah, look, the weakness is going to remain. I'll refrain from giving any values. I don't know where it's going to be, but where we are now is showing continued weakness because you're not getting your inflows coming in. Some folks expect some form of stability because they're like, the government only came in June, June, and they've only had about 6 months, nothing much. So I think 2024 is a real crucial year for more reforms to kick in and hopefully for dollar liquidity to come in. Central bank is still owing airlines, a backlog of FX so that they can take their profits out. There are players on the stock exchange who also need to repatriate their own money out as well. So if you're an airline and people have been flying here and there, you want to turn your Naira into dollars and move it back to your home country. Same thing for anyone who's invested in the stock market. So all those, the CBN has been trying to clear its backlog with banks. So that's been happening, but more liquidity needs to come in the new year in order for us to see something significant. But fundamentally, on the longer term, have to start making more things and exporting them outside of crude oil. We also have to stop crude oil theft and increase our production of oil in order to export more, earn more money that can come in. Ministry of Trade and Investment has to also secure some form of money coming in. Israel yesterday or the day before yesterday, they had a 25 billion coming from Intel, which is the chip maker. This is a country that's at war, right? And you are still able to secure a $25 billion. You know what $25 billion would do for Nigeria if it was asked to come in. So, a lot has to be done across different fronts in order to strengthen the currency. So next year is going to be a very interesting year. So all eyes on, the US elections, UK elections, South Africa elections, India, Guyana, there's a lot going to be happening, and how that affects the war in Ukraine, war in Gaza, Israel. It's all going to be very interesting, but Nigeria has to really focus on fixing her fundamentals to secure the strength of the currency.
So just because you touched on CBN a bit, and so we just like you because the clients also will be listening at this time, that's the listener, where there's been this circular that was issued by the CBN saying, hey, go to sleep, your money is safe in the banks, and lately with the cash scarcity, what's really going on, Rotus?
Yeah, well, that's just a routine circular. I think that's Obaze reports that has been released or leaked, although it wasn't signed, suggested there are a couple of banks that will be taken over by the central bank as a result of links to MFLA, which of course he's released on bail, he's refuted them, but they were floating some banks' names saying that the CBN might take them over, which I think they released that circular, as an obligatory move to tell people that, listen, don't worry about your money, it's safe. They don't want to run on the bank where people rush to the bank and start pulling out money. Even if they try to do that, they wouldn't be able to get anything because there's a cash scarcity in the country. So yeah, the CBN is just telling the public, if you have accounts with any of those banks, do not panic, your money is safe.
Okay, Rotus say so.
Yeah, well, CBN says so.
Right, you're listening to Business Express on Smooth 98.1. If you've got something to add to chime into the conversation, you can send that to us via WhatsApp right now. It's 0809 440 981. And of course, you can also tweet at Smooth 981. So there's some big news from the FCCPC. There has been a $110 million fine on British American Tobacco. Tell us about this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's British American Tobacco. Nigeria, their Nigeria division. They said there were some infractions. They said they contravened the FCCPC Act in terms of competition, in terms of consumer protection, and I think something to do with the Tobacco Acts in Nigeria. So they were just basically were infractions. They investigated it and they arrived at an agreement, a penalty to the tune of $110 million. That's a lot of money. Well, so yeah, they've made that the FCCPC tweeted it yesterday with a notice saying that this is the agreement that we've come to with the company. So they say it was for infractions.
And so you've touched basically on some of the specifics they're being fined for. Could you go deeper into the details?
They didn't give any details. They just said they didn't go specific and say, okay, this is what the company did. It was pretty broad. We'll try to get some more specifics from the FCCP when I get a chance. But yeah, they just basically just said that the company, I think the investigation dates back to 2020, I think, or 2021, when the FCC said it caught wind of these infractions, they started investigating, found out a number of things. There was like 2 or 3 divisions of British American Tobacco Nigeria that were mentioned. But yeah, no apparent specifics. They just said that they found out they ran afoul of competition laws, also keeping the consumer protection in place, and they've investigated for like 2-3 years, and this is the agreement that they've come to.
Rotus, how does this work when watchdogs like the FCCPC go about this? And look at Islam. You as a figures person, you even own up that this is quite some money. You were talking about 25 billion going to Israel, but look at this. How do they come about this? Just slam companies like this.
Well, so it depends on what you are found guilty of doing. And so with the Competition Act or laws in the country, they'll attach relevant, fines, or I guess you can negotiate them. But I mean, $110 million isn't, compared to 25 billion, it's quite small. but yeah, so it's yeah, but I mean, it was trending yesterday. People thought it was very interesting. Well, hopefully we just want to get more specifics though on what exactly they did, if we ever find, or maybe that's the message.
So what message does this send out to other firms?
So it says, shape up, carry out your actions within the confines of competition laws. Do not make consumers suffer as a result of your actions. And implementing laws is supposed to make other companies sit up, essentially.
All right. Well, that is it for Business Express this morning. Thank you for listening. Ahmed, I see your message. Okay, let's see what Ahmed's saying. Ahmed says, the more I pay attention to the economy, the more it becomes confusing. I thought the government said backlogs had been cleared. And again, I thought our crude oil production per day has been increased. How come we do not have more inflow of dollars? And then PCL needs to answer Sanusi's questions on the dollar inflow. That message is from Ahmed from Ogudu.
Then there is one listening here, and it said it sent a message, but it didn't send his name. Your number ends with 1932, and he's saying, asking for the link so he can replay Business Express at his convenience when he wants to. So definitely you'll get it on YouTube. We'll get it across to you after now.
Or you can just go on YouTube, search for Smooth981, click on live, and you can see all the shows that you may have missed, including yesterday's edition of Business Express. Thank you, Rotus. Have a brilliant day ahead.
Thanks, Zibby. Thanks so much. Thanks to everyone that sent messages. Catch you guys later.